Hey guys, this is going to be a video regarding a healthcare directive in California. My name is Rufus. I'm a Notary Public here in Los Angeles, California. I run both Long Beach Notary Dude and also Bulldog Notary and Apostille in Monterey Park, California. I typically just do general notary work, but this video is just on a healthcare directive for California. Other states might be the same, but I'm only familiar with California. So I got a phone call, and also this video is for notaries or also anyone who's looking to get a healthcare directive here in California. I got a phone call yesterday from a gentleman who said that his dad had recently fallen ill to Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and the family's starting to get a little bit worried. So he did some research and found out that, that a healthcare directive or a medical power of attorney is what is used here in California for those circumstances. Basically what it is you have a durable power of attorney form, which is for financial reasons. If you have anything regarding healthcare, the durable power of attorney is not going to cover that. So California has what's called a healthcare directive. You can go to the county that you live in and go to their website. A lot of them will have a blanket healthcare directive form you can download and just print out and fill out. It's very vague. There's not a whole lot of details on it, but it will work. So just regarding that. So he called me and he said he wanted to get this done and notarized. He said he has a family friend from his church or something who's a notary who they would do the notarizations for them. But he just wanted to call me because he saw my listing on Google and the reviews that I do quite a few of these. So he just has some questions. So I answered some basic questions for him. I didn't hear back from him. I called him, sent him a text about an hour later and just said, hey, just following up. He said, hey, can you stop by today around 4 o'clock? So I went there. Just a couple of things, if you're a notary and if you're getting a healthcare directive done, that you need to know about the healthcare directive and also a notary public. A notary is not a lawyer. We are not trained to give legal advice or anything like that. All we do is we verify identity. We do that. We make sure the signer is who they say they are. We do it through their driver's license. And in California, they have to personally appear before the notary. So we go to a place and we verify identity. We're not there to help fill out forms. We're there to notarize signatures. The notarization shouldn't take any more than like 15 or 20 minutes. So if you are a notary taking calls for a healthcare directive, or if you have a healthcare directive being notarized, just know the notary, they should not give any advice on how it should be filled out. Everything should be filled out, ready to go, except for the signature itself. So I mentioned to him, do you have the healthcare directive? He said, yes. He said, it's all printed out and all ready to go. I said, perfect. I just made sure that his dad has valid ID, because something you're gonna run into is a lot of times these older folks, their driver's license is expired because they don't drive anymore, and they never go and renew it for a new ID. So you can't really do a notarization without a valid ID or passport. So that's a question you always need to ask, and you need to make sure that if you're getting a healthcare directive, the signer of that directive or the principal, you need to make sure they have valid ID. So I asked him, he says, yes, valid ID, the forms are printed out and everything is all ready to go. So I went to them as a mobile notary, and I got in the house, and it was, you know, they were very nice. They had the documents and everything sitting there ready to go. They had all their IDs sitting there ready to go. And so I looked at the document, and it hadn't been completely filled out yet. There are places on the document where you need to initial regarding prolonging life, regarding donation of organs. Basically, the individual can predetermine what he wants done if that time comes. And on that form itself, you can also designate one or two people who you want to act on your behalf in the fact that you can't, you know, respond to questions or anything like that. So another thing is I went to the dad and I explained who I was. He was sick, but he was doing pretty good. He was able to communicate with me. He was Cambodian, so his English was so-so, but enough to communicate. I just explained who I was, what my job is here to do, and I explained to him the form and make sure he understood it, make sure he understood who he was giving the power to. As a notary, we're not supposed to give advice, but for me, I want to make sure that whatever signature I'm notarizing on that form, I want to make sure that person who's signing that form knows what that form is. I want to make sure they understand they're giving away power to the individual, which was his son who was sitting there. And he said, absolutely, I totally understand, that's no problem. So at that point, we're able to do the notarization. And because the form wasn't completely filled out at that time, I explained to the son, I said, look, you need to go over these questions with your dad one by one and have him initial next to those. I went into another room and started the notarization process with the ID. So I wasn't part of them making decisions. As a notary, you need to make sure you do not do that. So I went into a different room. I went to the kitchen and just started marking down the information for the notarization itself, the driver's license, and my notary journal. After the questions got done, he called me back and said, Rufus, we're done. And then I went and had his father, sign my journal and did the thumbprint and everything like that. As a notary, you're going to get phone calls for these, and it's important you understand exactly how the process is and how it works. And also, if you're getting a healthcare directive done, it's also important to understand what exactly that form is. Do some research, because all forms are not created equal. The one you download from the county is very vague. It doesn't give a lot of options as far as what you'd like done, as far as like blood transfusions, as far as organ donations, that type of stuff. It's basically just a form that says, look, I'm giving my power to this individual to think on my behalf. So hopefully this helps. This is just my experience as a Notary Public here in Los Angeles. I do a handful of those. If you have any questions, you can call me, 626-620-3667. You can find me at bulldognotarypublic.com or also notarydude.net. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have if you're a notary or if you're just looking to get a healthcare directive done. Thank you.